I look exactly like my 24F fiancé's 28M mother. I, 24F, have been with my fiancé, 28M, for the past 5 years and engaged for the past year. He's the love of my life and we get along very well. He's always has a strange adoration for his mother. He usually talks about how smart, how kind, how funny she is. I always thought it was sweet because I don't have a good relationship with my mother. He often said I have the same personality type as his mother too, we're both INTPs. During our whole relationship, I hadn't met his family. We live in Germany, they're in the US. We're currently visiting them now. When I met her, I really liked her. She's 64 so I didn't notice our resemblance at first, but when I looked at her wedding photos with my fiancé's father, I really look like I could be her daughter. Even my fiancé's father pointed it out. We both have curly ginger hair and green eyes, and we both have bangs. We are a similar height and build. It's so eerie. If you compare a photo of her in her youth with me, we look like we could be sisters. His mother is also a fan of red lipstick. Guess what color the lipsticks he buys me are? Red. I asked a few friends what they thought, and they said this obviously can't be a coincidence. I decided to speak to him before bed yesterday and I pointed out how similar I was to his mother. He shrugged and said people usually choose partners who are similar to their parents. I didn't believe him but he showed me some articles on Google. I tried to let it go today, but I met some more of his relatives and everyone is talking about how his mother and I look like we're related. His mother finds this whole thing cute and has said, "My son misses me so much when he's in Germany that he found my lookalike." How do I approach a conversation with him about this again? Or am I just overreacting and should I let it go? I would love some advice. Edit. A commenter told me to add this here. I didn't want to earlier because it's a bit vulgar but he does call me mommy in bed sometimes. LMAO, change your appearance and update us. Sigmund Freud has entered the chat. Does you feel like you have a mothering role in the relationship? People just like what they're familiar with. It's pretty common and not that deep. Dye your hair and see what he does. Woman shrugging, medium light skin tone. I thought it was fine as we do choose partners similar to our parents a lot of the time but the mommy in bed threw me a lil. How do I tell my mom I slept with her boyfriend before they met? Update. I made a post 10 days ago about this. If you would like to read it, it's here. When I made my post and got some advice, I decided to write a letter so I could get my thoughts and feelings out properly. I won't put it here because it is very personal and emotional. Anyway, I gave my mom the letter the night. I stayed in the room with her as she read it. I had tears welling up as she was reading, thinking she would hate me after it. After she read it I started crying and she started crying. It was all very emotional but my mom assured me that she would never hate me and she was glad I wrote the letter and I think we just hugged for a solid few minuets just crying into each other. We calmed down a bit after that and just spent the rest of the night watching movies and eating junk food. The morning after that my mom ending things with her BF. There was a bit of drama there with him calling me a SLT and my mom screaming at him for calling me that, but after that we haven't heard from him since and have been drama-free. Me and my mom seem a lot closer now and I feel like I can be more honest with her without fear of judgment or losing her love. Thanks to the people who actually gave advice and didn't make disgusting comments. Your advice was very helpful and got me to pull my head out of my ass and tell her ASAP. Love that you and he had sex with each other, but he called you a SLT. And that would make him a what? I'm glad your mom and you are okay. I hope she doesn't give up on dating. What are the chances of this ever happening in the first place? Maybe you two should browse the apps together when she's looking. Grin. Mom boyfriend showed his true colors with the whole yelling and name calling. Op and mom dodged a bullet. I'm glad this turned out well, but please encourage your mom not to give up on finding love. Somewhere out there is a partner who deserves her. I'm glad everything worked out. It could have gone pretty poorly. Hired detective, caught husband, M40, cheating with his, F33, secretary. Next steps? Hired a detective last weekend. He caught my husband with his ex-secretary on Saturday night. Plenty of pictures, there isn't any disputing this or the happenings. Kissing, hand-holding and back to her room together for the entire night. Zero doubt on the events of the evening. They were at a weekend business conference. I suspected it and was right. I actually felt like complete shit in the lead up and to a lesser degree still do. But his behavior was a bit off for a couple weeks. I had that terrible gut feeling. I let him know over text this morning that he was caught. read receipt but no reply. I didn't state any intentions. I just told him I will just take a break to gather my thoughts. He should do the same and I need to see if I can find a way to trust again. As expected, today has been a rollercoaster of emotion, anger and tears galore. This is the absolute worst feeling ever. I wish this on nobody, which leads me to the next thought. Do I send the pics to the secretary's husband? I'm conflicted on that. I'm not a vindictive person and it is not intended to hurt the secretary, but my thinking that I would want to know if he had found out instead. But, this emotional pain is so heavy. Terrible to inflict on someone. I haven't shared with anybody. I feel this is our issue at the moment. Anyone I share with will simply hate him forever. I have so many pics of them together. I stopped looking and moved them to a folder on my PC and zipped them up. Looking at them just stirs me up. I feel absolutely horrible that I did this, but I also realize that I needed to confirm the affair. 1. Am I a horrible wife for hiring a detective? Didn't he break the trust first? 2. Should I share the pics with her husband? 3. Is taking break a reasonable strategy? Thanks all. Just writing this out has been a bit therapeutic. Talk to a divorce attorney before doing anything. You do not want to do anything that could hurt you in the future. I find it so sad that you're questioning whether you're a good wife or not simply because you hired a detective to confirm something you were suspicious about. I think your husband is the awful one for not honoring his vows and being incredibly disrespectful to you and your marriage. You should definitely tell the secretary's husband. He deserves to know he's married to someone that doesn't love him or respect him. I find divorce to be the better option. I would definitely tell the husband, because who wouldn't want to know that? You may want to talk to a lawyer about sending the pictures though in case it hurts your position in a divorce. But either way tell him. And if the lawyer gives the green light, send him the pics. He has a cheater for a wife and he needs to know that. You should also divorce your husband. Partner trying to dictate how I spend my inheritance money. My mum passed away and I received my inheritance. It's a life-changing amount of money. I have used it to pay off mine and my partner's debts and we're in the process of also buying a house. I collect books as my main hobby and I've got enough money to comfortably afford to treat myself to some books, but my partner is not impressed with me doing this. I've probably spent about 0.5% of the money so far. My partner is also talking about how the new house needs a new kitchen and bathroom, and when I ask how we're paying for this I get angry responses. I don't mind paying for these things at all, but if someone's going to dictate how I spend money they don't get to say what I can spend it on if they think they can tell me what I can't spend it on. He tells me, it's not right, as in I should feel guilty for having received it. I'm not sure how to address this without it causing an argument. Keep your finances separate and spend your money as you wish. I'd strongly recommended booking a meeting with a certified financial planner though to make that money work for you in the long term. Also, making upgrades to a home doesn't always increase the value. So I'd be thinking about getting the money into stocks or bonds and only spend the interest on non-essentials. But again, I'd speak to a financial planner. He tells me, it's not right, as in I should feel guilty for having received it. My first impression is that seems very childish and major red flag territory. Are you just dating or married? No, he doesn't get a say. The fact you paid off their personal debts is pretty big as it is. It was money from your mother to you. Do you think she'd want him telling you how to spend her money she wanted for you? Doubtful, but I didn't know the woman. I'm sorry for your loss.